Alright sneakerheads, buckle up. Today we're diving into the futuristic, hyper-driven, and borderline mythical world of Yeezys. You've probably seen people lining up for hours or even camping out overnight to get their hands on these sneakers. But have you ever stopped to wonder, how are these iconic shoes actually made? Are they crafted by robots, a secret society, or Kanye West himself stitching away in a lab coat? What does it take to transform Kanye's wildest ideas into a shoe that's both futuristic and functional? Stick around because what goes into making Yeezys is just as mind-blowing as their price tags. Oh, and before we step into this wild journey, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more content where we break down the factory secrets behind your favorite products. Now, let's lace up and get started. Step 1. Conceptualization. From Kanye's brain to blueprint. Before any Yeezy touches the conveyor belt, it starts as a glimmer of an idea in Kanye West's head. Try to imagine Kanye pacing in a minimalist room, surrounded by whiteboards, mood boards, and probably some inspirational quotes like, "I am a god." Now, Yeezys aren't just shoes, they're art pieces. Kanye collaborates with designers at Adidas to create prototypes, incorporating futuristic aesthetics, innovative materials, and the kind of hype marketing that makes people lose their minds. Once the design is locked in, the shoe's blueprint gets finalized using CAD, computer-aided design software. Every curve, texture, and stitch is meticulously planned, ensuring the Yeezy not only looks great, but also feels like you're walking on clouds. Step 2. Material selection, the secret sauce. Yeezys are known for their comfort and unique appearance, and a lot of that comes down to the materials. Adidas spares no expense here, sourcing premium stuff. For most Yeezy models, the upper is made of prime knit, a lightweight and breathable fabric that feels like a sock wrapped around your foot. The soles? Well, they're made with Adidas's Boost technology, which is like walking on a bed of marshmallows, if marshmallows were also incredibly responsive and durable. Prime knit material is woven from thermoplastic yarns, which means it's flexible yet sturdy. Bose foam, on the other hand, is created by expanding thousands of tiny thermoplastic polyurethane TPU pellets. These pellets are heated and compressed into molds to form the distinctive bouncy midsole we all love. Step 3. Knitting the upper. Prime knit in action. Now let's get technical. The prime knit uppers aren't just slapped together. They're woven with precision using state-of-the-art flatbed knitting machines. These machines create a one-piece upper that's seamless, reducing the chance of irritation or hot spots on your feet. The knitting process allows for intricate designs, like the zebra stripes on the Yeezy Boost 350 V2 or the camouflage-inspired patterns on other models. Different areas of the fabric are engineered with varying levels of elasticity and thickness. This ensures the shoe is snug in some places and supportive in others. One prime knit upper takes just 45 minutes to an hour to weave, but the precision is so high that any tiny flaw leads to the whole thing being scrapped. Talk about high stakes. Here's a mind-blowing twist for you. While humans oversee much of the Yeezy creation process, a large portion of the production involves cutting-edge robotic technology. Adidas's Speed Factory concept uses advanced AI to knit, cut, and assemble certain parts of Yeezys with precision unmatched by human hands. These robots are so advanced that they can self-correct errors in real time. Step 4. The Boost midsole. From pellets to perfection. Next up is the Boost midsole, which is arguably what sets Yeezys apart in the comfort department. Adidas uses machines to heat and compress the TPU pellets into their signature foam blocks. These blocks are then cut and shaped into midsoles. Here's the kicker. The foam isn't just about comfort, it's designed to return energy with every step you take. So technically, Yeezys are not just shoes, they're energy-saving devices. Moreover, solar panels. Yeah. After the midsoles are molded, they're attached to a thermoplastic base plate, which provides additional support and structure. This combination ensures that your Yeezys feel as good at mile 10 as they do when you first unbox them. But how do they ensure every pair of Yeezys is perfectly shaped down to the last thread? Step 5. Assembling the pieces. the marriage ceremony. Once the upper and midsoles are ready, it's time for the assembly process. The prime knit uppers are stretched over molds to ensure the perfect shape. These molds are human foot replicas designed to mimic real-life wear. The upper is then glued and stitched to the Boost midsole. Here's where it gets wild. The glue used in Yeezys isn't irregular stuff. Adidas uses a special adhesive that's heat activated, ensuring that the bond is strong enough to survive everything from casual strolls to impromptu dance battles. The outsole, usually made of durable rubber with a distinctive tread pattern, is then fused to the midsole. This thread isn't just for show, it's designed for grip and durability, making Yeezys as functional as they are fashionable. Step 6. Quality Control. The Yeezy Inspection Squad. Yeezys are like the Rolls-Royce of sneakers, so quality control is no joke. Every pair goes through a rigorous inspection process to ensure it meets Adidas's sky-high standards. Workers check everything from the stitching to the alignment of the stripes. Even the tiniest flaw, a loose thread, a scuff on the midsole, or an uneven knit, means the pair gets rejected. Rejected pairs are either recycled for the materials or used as factory samples for training purposes. Step 7. Packaging the hype. The Yeezy box. Once a pair passes inspection, it's placed into the iconic Yeezy box. The packaging is minimalist, just like the shoes, but there's a sense of ceremony to it. Unboxing a pair of Yeezys feels like opening a treasure chest, complete with tissue paper and labels that scream, "You're now a part of the elite club." Before we go further, let's talk about the man behind the Yeezy brand, Kanye West. Love him or hate him, Kanye isn't just making shoes. He's crafting a cultural phenomenon. His vision for Yeezy wasn't just about designing sneakers, it was about creating art you could wear. Kanye famously described the Yeezy line as the Lamborghini of sneakers, aiming to blend high fashion with streetwear. This obsession with detail trickles down into every stage of production, from the initial sketches to the final product. And let's not forget the unique design philosophy. Yeezys are known for their futuristic aesthetic, minimalist yet bold, functional yet grand. Kanye's goal was to create something that felt both timeless and ahead of its time. That's why when you look at a pair of Yeezys, you don't just see a shoe, you see a statement. But why do Yeezys cost so much, and is there more to it than just hype? Step 8. Distribution. From factory to frenzy. Now that the Yeezys are boxed up, they're shipped to distribution centers worldwide. This is where the madness begins. Limited quantities are released to create hype, leading to frenzied drops where pairs sell out in minutes. Some even end up on resale markets for 2, 3, or even 10 times their original price. So the next time you see someone flexing a pair of Yeezys, remember, they're not just wearing shoes. They're showcasing the result of a meticulous, high-tech, and hype-fueled process that's nothing short of fascinating. Alright, denim devotees, we've already gone down the rabbit hole of Yeezy's luxurious sneaker empire. But now let's dive into something just as iconic. Jeans, the pants that work just as hard as you do and somehow manage to make your butt look amazing in the process. But have you ever stopped to think about what it really takes to make that pair of jeans you're rocking? How does a humble roll of fabric transform into these wearable works of art? From the fields of cotton to the finishing touches in the factory, the process is just so intricate and fascinating that your appreciation for jeans is about to skyrocket. Step 1. Growing the cotton, the denim genesis. Before we even touch the factory floor, the story of your jeans starts in a field. And no, it's not some mystical denim farm, it's cotton, the foundation of your favorite pants. Cotton plants are carefully cultivated in warm climates like the United States, India, or Pakistan, where they can bask in the sunshine. Once the cotton matures, it's harvested either by hand or with giant mechanical pickers that are like the transformers of the farming world. These machines roll through the fields, collecting fluffy white cotton balls at lightning speed. The raw cotton is then Gin. No, not like the martini. This gin is a machine that separates the soft fibers from the seeds. The fibers are then cleaned, combined, and spun into yarn. Fun fact, this yarn is incredibly strong and surprisingly soft, which is exactly what makes denim so durable yet, comfortable. Why is denim dyed blue, and could jeans ever have been another color? Step 2. Spinning yarn into denim fabric. The loom room. Here's where the magic really happens. The cotton yarn is now taken into weaving factories where it's turned into the fabric we know and love. Denim. If you thought weaving was just an artsy hobby, think again. Massive industrial looms work overtime to weave threads into denim fabric. This involves 2 sets of threads. The warp threads the long vertical ones and the weft threads the horizontal ones. The iconic blue hue of your jeans comes from dyeing the warp threads with indigo dye, while the weft threads remain white. This creates that classic denim look with its textured, two-toned finish. The dyeing process itself is an art form, involving multiple dips into vats of indigo to achieve the perfect shade of blue. And just like painting your house, it's all about the layers. After dyeing, the threads are woven together into a tight twill pattern, which is why denim feels different from regular fabric. If you look closely, you'll notice diagonal lines on your jeans. That's the twill weave at work. The woven fabric is then treated, softened, and rolled into giant bolts of denim that are ready to ship off to jean factories. You might think jeans are as American as apple pie, but denim actually has European roots. The word denim comes from de Nimes, a town in France where the fabric originated. And that little rivet innovation, it was patented by Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis in the 1870s. But who knew your all-American jeans had such a worldly past? Step 3. Designing the blueprint, cutting the patterns. Now we're on the factory floor and things are about to get serious. The first step in making a pair of jeans is designing them. And no, this isn't just about sketching some cool doodles on a piece of paper. Designers use computer programs to create precise patterns for each piece of the jeans. The front leg panels, the back panels, the waistband, the pockets, and even the little coin pocket that we all forget exists until, we find $1 in it. The denim rolls are laid out on massive cutting tables, sometimes stacked in layers dozens of sheets thick. Using laser-guided cutting machines, workers slice through the fabric like butter, creating perfectly measured pieces that will eventually come together to form your jeans. Step 4. Assembly line sewing, the Franken jean stage. Now it's time for some serious stitching action. Each cut piece of denim is sent to specialized sewing stations where skilled workers and industrial machines work their magic. This part of the process is like assembling a giant denim puzzle. First, the front and back panels are sewn together, creating the basic shape of the jeans. Then, the inseams and outseams are stitched, reinforced with heavy-duty thread to make sure they can withstand everything from bike rides to wild dance moves. Even the stitching pattern on the back pockets is carefully designed to be both functional and stylish. Think of Levi's iconic arcuate stitching. That's a trademark look that started right here on the assembly line. The waistband, belt loops, and fly come next. Fun fact, making the zipper fly involves about 40 individual steps. Yeah, 40. And if your jeans have buttons instead, like, the classic 501s, those take even longer because each button must be precisely placed and riveted into place. Speaking of rivets, what's the real reason jeans are nearly indestructible, especially at the seams? Step 5. Rivets and reinforcements, denim armor. Let's talk about those little metal rivets on your jeans, the ones you probably never think about. These tiny yet mighty bits of hardware are added to reinforce reinforce stress points, like the corners of pockets so your jeans don't fall apart when you accidentally overstuff them with your phone, wallet, keys, and random receipts from 2015. The rivets are applied using heavy-duty machines that press them into the fabric with pinpoint accuracy. This step is crucial because without these reinforcements, your jeans would have a shorter lifespan than your New Year's resolutions. Step 6. Washing and distressing, giving jeans their personality. Here's where the real fun begins. Raw denim fabric straight off the loom is stiff, uniform, and frankly, not all that exciting. So factories use a variety of techniques to give your jeans their unique look and feel. First up is washing. Jeans are thrown into giant industrial washing machines. Picture your laundromat times 100. Depending on the desired look, they might be stone washed using pumice stones, acid washed using chemicals to create a faded look, or enzyme washed for a softer feel. Distressing is next. This is where workers use sandpaper, lasers, or even high-pressure air guns to create whiskering, those faded lines around the crotch and thighs and worn-in patches. Some premium jeans are even hand distressed for an authentic vintage vibe. Yeah, there are people out there whose job is literally to make jeans look like they've been through a rock concert or a rodeo. Step 7. Quality control, the denim police. Before your jeans can hit the shelves, they have to pass a rigorous quality control process. Workers check every seam, stitch, and rivet to make sure everything is flawless. They also test the fabric's durability by stretching, pulling, and even washing the jeans multiple times. Any jeans that don't meet the factory's high standards are either recycled or sent to outlet stores as factory seconds. So if you ever scored a pair of jeans for half the price, you might have a tiny defect no one else would even notice. But how do luxury jean brands justify their sky-high price tags compared to regular jeans? Step 8. Finishing touches, branding, and packaging. Now for the final steps, branding and packaging. The factory adds the iconic leather patch to the waistband along with any logos or tags. Some brands even add unique details like embroidery, printed pocket linings, or hidden messages stitched inside the waistband. Once every pair of jeans is ready, they're folded, tagged, and packed into boxes for shipping. From there, they travel across the globe to stores, online warehouses, and eventually your closet. And that, my denim-loving friends, is how a pair of jeans goes from cotton fields to your wardrobe. Each pair represents hours of craftsmanship, hundreds of steps, and an incredible amount of attention to detail. So the next time you slip on your favorite jeans, take a moment to appreciate the journey they've been on and maybe treat them to a gentle cycling in the washing machine. After all, they've earned it. And if you made it this far, don't forget to check out our other videos on our channel. I promise you won't regret it, and we'll see you there.